Well, hello, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Saria, and you already know in this video we are talking about Love Island USA. Let's get into it, because as we know, last night's recoupling was off the chain. Okay, so the first thing we see is Nick and Sierra. Yeah, we see Nick and Sierra talking because, as we know, it came down to Sierra and Bella. And not really shockingly, to too much of our surprise, we saw that Nick chose Sierra because he had been going back and forth between her and Bella the last couple of episodes, right? But what Nick says is like, yeah, I think that she was upset because she felt like I gave her like this sense of false hope because of her speech and everything that she said. And at the same time, it's like, even though like we could tell that you wasn't really feeling her like that, like just the connection, in my opinion, just wasn't there. Like, and on an emotional, like maturity level, just like y'all just weren't vibing like that. But you did string her along and you did happily make out with her in soul ties. But what I be trying to tell people is that, especially with men, just because you make out, just because you have sex, it does not mean that they have a connection. So now he done messed up because he done smoochy with Bella. And of course, Sierra doesn't know this yet. But anyways, so Sierra says, is there something that you told me that you also told her to give her that false hope? And Nick is like, no. Like, the only thing I said was that I'm interested in both of you, and that was it. And, you know, now that she's gone, she out of here, sayonara, hasta lasagna, don't get any on ya, I can focus 100% on you. And Sierra's like, yeah, I'm like really excited, but she hasn't found out the tea that Olandri is about to spill. But, you know, let's just keep watching. I feel like tonight is going to be a shakeup. The last two episodes, I don't want to say they've been boring, but it's been just a lot of the Huda, Jeremiah. I'm tired of that. We need something shook up. Y'all want to be mom and dad? Cool. But we need some other excitement going on in this villa. And so also, too, at the end of the conversation, Sierra's just sitting there rubbing his head. She's like, I am so happy. Like, I am just so happy that this is just how things turned out. And listen, all he does is just nod his head a little bit and just sit there and receive all the praise. He doesn't say, I'm happy too. None of that. But he does say in the confessional that he feels like a weight has been lifted off of his shoulder. And while, yes, I feel like that's true, but there was something, a little disconnect there, I noticed when she was saying, I'm so happy that this is just all how this worked out, right? But then we see them, they start making out. She's like, it feels so good just to be out and about, you know, out in Proudway. He's smacking her on the butt. And he says that he feels that the attraction to her has heightened. So that's it for now with them. But we're going to keep our eyes on them, okay? Because, you know, this episode's just getting started. But next, we see our boy Charlie and Miss Hannah. Okay, and I'm interested to see how these two evolve this episode, because I can really tell that they're feeling each other. And I feel like now it's Charlie's time to really shine and step up. So we see Charlie and Hannah cuddling up on that circle couch bed thing. Okay, that looks super comfy. And I mean, they are both just smitten on cloud 9. I feel like, honestly, while don't get me wrong, Shelly and Olandri, they're my girls. But as far as couples go, right now, Charlie and Hannah, they are in the couple with the most chemistry, seem the most genuine right now. They were both giggling, cheesing, just both on cloud 9. And Charlie's like, man, if only you knew how down bad I was. Like, there was nobody that I really had a connection with. Because, yes, I know that he was talking to Shelly and he would have just found somebody in the villa, of course, you know, to stay. But I truly feel like Hannah, like he said, she came in and they instantly clicked. He looked up and she was there. And as soon as he shifted his mindset and decided that he wasn't going to feel down bad anymore, boom. And I like that she ended up going with Charlie instead of Austin, or, any of the other guys. I really like her and Charlie. And I see them maybe not winning, but definitely making it to the end. So, by the dock, we see Mama Bear and Papa Bear, a.k.a. Jeremiah and Huda. And Huda is in tears because Bella left the villa, and, she's upset. She said Bella was like a little sister to her. And she sits down with Jeremiah, and she's like, it's just crazy how some men can be. And he kind of like cocks his head back. He's like, what you mean? Like, women can be like that too. And she's like, well, no, I'm just saying, like, you just couldn't even tell that he wasn't into her. And he was like, no, he was being completely transparent. And so they had a little disconnect moment there, but then quickly switch gears. So after that, Huda asked him, how do you feel about us? And he said, baby, I feel like the luckiest man on the earth. You look good on the outside and like you look good on the inside. So basically this week, I just want to lock in and get you to like me even more. And she's like, oh, please. You don't have to try. Okay, baby, you are already my prize. Huda says in her confessional that she's really happy to hear that. And that even though she told him that she's a single mom, he still picked her. And she's really excited about that. So you can definitely tell that that is something that she struggled with, in her past. But, now with Jeremiah, she's feeling like, okay, I can date as a single mom. So right now it's looking all good between those two. And we just gonna transition on from there. Jeremiah also says that he's an emotional guy and he be crying. He said he almost did when he stood up to give his speech. And she was like, you were crying about me, little on me. And he's like, nah, shawty, we just met. And it's like, stop lying, Jeremiah. But you know what? They're good. They're both smiling. I'm going to leave them alone this episode, okay? But now we have Ace and Amaya going to chat. And if I can be honest, I just don't see the connection there. Besides, they both just probably think each other looks good. But I don't see any real flow there. It seems forced. Ooh, child, that mischievous little warlock, Ace. So he goes and he sits down with Amaya. She's like, how you feeling? And he's like, I'm feeling good. No, he asked her, how you feeling? She's like, oh, I'm feeling good. I'm really happy. And she's like, how are you feeling? He's like, well, obviously I picked you, so I'm cool. But hey, I just want to let you know I'm very open to exploring other connections and different options. And I want that same experience for you. And I'm an extremely slow burner when it comes to affection. So outside the challenges, don't be expecting all that kissing and cuddling. Now, Ace. Oh, see, Amaya, and then Amaya sitting there, and she's just, like, stuck. And she says, she was like, I don't know, like, I'm kind of feeling some type of way because I just went from Cloud 9. Now, this is giving, like, player vibes. And, girl, like, I don't know why people, like, look at Ace and don't see the mischievous warlock that he is. Okay, like, he is not interested in being serious. He's very unserious. Matter of the fact. And not only that, but my thing is why didn't you just go ahead and choose Shelly? What was the point of choosing Amaya? Right? And it's almost like it's like his weird way of being able to string Shelly along to the end. Like, oh, during the competition, he's going to have all these different girls that he's coupled up with. And then what? And like the last couple episodes, decide he wants to couple up with Shelly and then magically win this thing. Nope. I see you, Ace. So she tells him that, oh, I feel like you just burst my little delusional bubble. And that she feels like because he was her number one and he picked her, she thought it was the same thing. Y'all be just assuming things without really asking. especially when it comes to these men folk. You cannot do that, shouty. Just because he chose you does not mean that he has that he's closed off to you. That is not what that means. Like, no. No, 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 no. You think you're that girl, but you're not that girl. You're not that girl. And the girls, the women who come in and they get that switch up, they're not giving out that desperate energy. And Amaya is giving out desperate energy. Because I'm like, baby, is she about to cry over Ace? Somebody that she just met less than 48 hours ago? Because you thought that you were his quote unquote number one girl? No, read the room. Ace is for everybody, or at least trying to be. But yeah, I really don't know what was the point in him picking Amaya. But like I said, the only thing that makes sense to me is like, because if he's in a couple with somebody else, he can still technically get to know Shelly and string Shelly along without having to fully commit to her, because Shelly's just going to be the cool girl. Oh, I'm just waiting on Ace and then, like, ugh. I'm ready for some new male bombshells. I'm ready for the switch. Like, I just cannot. I cannot. Producers, please, let's shake up the villa. Thank you. She's sitting there talking to Ace, about to cry, talking about how he bursted her delusional happy bubble. And he's like, listen, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And he says in the confessional that it's not clouding how he feels about her, but it's definitely raising a red flag. Like, I'm sorry, but when you act crazy and emotional like that, especially with a man that you don't know, like, you bound to give him the ick, sis. And I can tell you already in this moment, Ace is completely uninterested. Completely uninterested. And now we see Amaya walking over. Hold on, gotta start the laundry. Hold up. Boom. And then we see Amaya walking over to Huda and Jeremiah at the dock. And I'm like, the girl who was just calling you a messy fake bitch, you're gonna go to her to console you? Hey, can we talk? Yeah. And Huda's like, yeah, you wanna, can we talk? Oh my God, sure. Amaya. That's why I say you can look good, but it's really all about your energy, baby. I don't think Amaya's gonna last very long. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. So Amaya and Huda are sitting in one of the rooms, and Amaya just is in tears. She was like, that is just not what I wanted to hear after you picked me. Like, my feelings are hurt. Like, is he genuine? Is he a player? Like, what's going on? And then we see Ace talking to the guys just all nonchalant. And it almost seemed like the guys were a little bit surprised. Like, I feel like the guys are starting to clock his tea. Because the guys were like, oh, so... Wait, no, what did he say? Ace was like, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to keep it real. Unless I'm really feeling you, I'm not going to cuddle with you. Like, I'm not going to do it. And I understand she's an affectionate person, but I'm not going to change. And the guys are like, so if she asks you to cuddle, you're going to say no? And Ace is just casually eating his chips. He's like, yeah, when you do that, it makes girls like you more. I said, you a-hole. That's why you doing that. So you not going to choose Shelly to hurt her feelings. What? To get her to like you more and to chase you. And then you're going to choose Amaya, making her think that there's something going on. And then you're going to pull the rug from under her feet. Oh, yeah, Ace, I'm done with you. Bye. That was mean. That was mean, and that was messy. And now I definitely want another guy bombshell to come in and just sweep Shelly off of her feet. Like, I am done with Ace. Now, Huda says, girl, stop showing this man how much you like him and let him earn you. These men are not the catch. You are the prize. And let me tell you something, Huda, that's straight facts. I can give credit where credit's due, and that is straight facts. Stop sitting there crying, being all pathetic, and boss up on him. You're supposed to be a foreign baddie. And that's the thing. I cannot stand when I see women like that. As soon They're so confident, but as soon as a man upsets them, it like they crumble. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that as like a broader thing. So I definitely want Amaya to wipe those tears and pick her head up. And I'm glad that her and Huda talked. Okay, like I'm really glad that that happened. So we see Shelly and Austin over there chatting. And Shelly's saying in the confessional that she thinks Austin is fine and is just checking off all these boxes, okay? She really loved his speech. They're seemingly enjoying each other's company, but I'm still just getting a friend vibe. But at the same time, I'm not mad at them for just kind of enjoying where they're at the moment and riding the wave. Because honestly, I want Shelly to find someone else and I want Austin to go or get matched up with someone else. But I think for now, they're going to keep playing it cool, keep being sweet on each other, and just keep one foot in front of the other from there. So I'm not mad at Austin and Shelly at this point. They got to stay in. They have got to stay in, and that's how they're doing it. So all the girls are in the makeup room getting ready for bed, and everybody's just talking, and Alandra says, man, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sad to see Bella leave, but I'm just a little surprised because her and Nick were all kissing and soul ties. And Shelly goes, did you say locking lips and soul ties? And Alandria was like, yeah. And Sierra says, what? And Alandria puts her hands over her mouth and she's like, oh my gosh, you did not know. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, girl. And this is how these men be. And Sierra's just like, oh my God, like, are you serious? That was literally like 5 minutes after we kissed. And I asked him, did you do anything to give her false hope? And he's like, no. And I'm now knowing that, well, maybe it's because you macking on her and soul ties. Thank you, Sierra. Clock it. The girls say that he should talk to her tomorrow. And Sierra's saying that now she's just like annoyed because she was looking forward to getting back. Girls, still do that. Chill. And then calmly bring it up, I should say. Calmly bring it up tomorrow and see how he moves from there. But as of right now, it is not the time to freak out or crash out. So everybody's getting in their bed. And Ace is like, you want breakfast tomorrow? And she's like, no, I want coffee. And then she goes, do you want me to make you something? And he's like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, girl, you pick me, somebody pick me. Coming off so desperate. This man just told you that he's exploring these other options. Don't ask me to cuddle. And he's asking you if you want breakfast, and then you're going to flip it around and ask him. Girl, it's not coming off as like a courteous, like being thoughtful. No, it's coming off desperate and down bad. Amaya, come on. And we see at night, we got Hannah and Charlie getting real cozy. And then we got Huda and Jeremiah getting a little freaky. I said, hold up, Jeremiah. Them chest kisses was getting real down low. Hold up. You can't put the blanket up? Okay, hopefully nobody's up looking at y'all. But it's the next day. Ace makes Amaya breakfast. And she's like, thank you. And then Alandria, I guess, is making Taylor breakfast. I mean, I guess. But, it's given Big Mama and her sugar baby. But, I mean, I guess make Taylor breakfast. Like, I don't know. I feel like he should be the one, like, being more advanced and, like, putting himself out there. But, hey, he might like that. So, Alandria's going to make him breakfast. And it's a new day. We got chats. I don't know if they have I think there is a game that they're going to do this episode. So, that's going to be fun. So, Alandria is sitting there making Taylor pancakes and all kinds of stuff. And Taylor's talking to Ace, and he's like, man, what's up with you? And Alandria, he's like, I mean, it's cool. I like her, but the physical attraction, like, I'm just not feeling that. And that's why, like, and I'm not saying that a man can't be a slow burner, but that's why, like, when they're like, oh, yeah, I'm just a slow burner, da-da-da. No, y'all are friends. When you said best friends, that's what y'all are. That's what y'all are going to be. It's not even giving, like, friends to lover. It's giving homies. It's borderline giving like sister or like auntie vibes. And I'm not trying to be mean, but that's really how it's giving. She needs like a man to come in. Taylor is not, I'm not saying that he's not a man, but maybe somebody older, or just something, but Taylor is not it, and vice versa. And Ace is like, man, you need to step it up. She's sitting there making you breakfast. Like, you have somebody in here that really likes you, and you're going to be upset if somebody else gets her. And I mean, Taylor's like, yeah, but at the same time, if there's nothing there to begin with, then how could he even really feel like he's losing out? Yeah, I don't think he's interested in her like that. And I don't think she should have sat there and made him breakfast. Like, that was not the power move that she thought it was. It was the power lose. This man is turned off. Yeah, they're done. Oh, y'all, did she just ask this man? Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I need a second. Did she just ask this man if he wants his pancakes cut up? What did I just say? It's giving Big Mama. It's giving Auntie. What did I just say? I don't understand. These women are so beautiful and be so desperate. I cannot. He really has shown you zero interest as far as anything, and the fact that y'all are just like in a couple to be in on at this point, and the fact that you are cooking him breakfast and then asking him if you can cut up his pancakes. And now he's sitting there, he's like, oh, I appreciate it. And I just don't see it with them. I like both of them too, but I just don't see it with them as a couple. And it's painful. Oh, love. Alandria says, just clock out. Just clock out with Taylor, all right? Just hang on so you can stay in, but just know that it's time to clock out and shift your focus somewhere else. Oh, we need new guys. So Alandria sits down and she's like, I just noticed like how much, well, first she said it's one thing to tell you how much I like you, but I wanted to show you. But I do look at the other couples and I'm just kind of wondering, why aren't we that far along? Like, what's going on? The actions aren't matching the words. Because he's not interested. And she's like, I know I'm a slow burner in real life, but if you want to hold my hand or touch my leg, you can. Baby, he would not have to ask, because the feeling would be mutual. The energy would be there. Okay? Like, if when all these conversations y'all sit so far apart, you don't put your hand out, he doesn't put his, there's no physical attraction there at all. And it's like she's being in denial. It's like she knows, but at the same time, she's like pretending that she doesn't know. Because she's like, oh, am I missing something? Baby, he's not into you. Please let go of this cowboy fantasy. There are so many other Southern black men. It does not have to be him. But let go of that, because Taylor is not it. And the reason why you're not seeing it clearly is because you're so stuck on the fantasy that you have of him, when you need to be in the present moment and be like, okay, me and this cowboy, we ain't cooking. We're in a friendship couple. And at the end of all that, she says all that. And he's like, yeah, for sure. Girl, I don't know how it's not any clearer. Sierra and Shelly are talking, and Sierra's just like, I just don't want to start things on a rocky foundation, because it's like you omitted that information, and it just makes me feel like, what other little things are you going to do in the future? But Shelly says, you know what? It was a lot going on with this situation, so it might just be a one-time thing, right? And I don't think Sierra's like in the mode of like being done with him. but just a little tripped up by that situation. Like, I think she really likes him, and I don't think she's going to let that stop her from being in a couple with him. I think they're going to talk about it and move past it, if I can be honest with you. Especially because I feel like Nick and Sierra don't have any other options in the villa, so they're going to make it work with each other. And they do have that connection that they're building off of, so I don't think she's done just yet. So Ace is sitting there with Taylor and Alandria, and he's looking at Hood and Jeremiah. He's like, you think it's real? And they're like, yeah, it seems reciprocated on both sides. He's like, I don't know. It just seems like she's more invested than he is. He's like, if Amaya was really Jeremiah's type, Hood'a would have been cooked, but I don't know, just something's off around this motherfucker. And I said, I know, Ace, I can't stand you right now for what you did in this last recoupling, but I know exactly what you mean. And if that's the reason why you kept Amaya as well, I see you, Ace. I see you. But someone just got a text, so let's see what's next. Ooh, I like that. That was smooth. And then also, too, when he was looking on to Hood and Jeremiah, there was a part when Jeremiah was, like, dancing all silly. And Hood's like, don't do that at our wedding. And it's just like, not y'all's wedding. I don't know. That's just a lot to me. That's a lot, and it's weird. And it just feels like she's just so desperate and thankful that somebody picked her. And, like, he's fine, and this is the best that she can get because she's a single mom. I don't think she really sees her value, and I think, therefore, yes, she is more interested than Jeremiah is. But for right now, there's nobody else that Jeremiah is interested in the villa. So he's just going to keep pushing forward. Wow, and it's not a game. Jeremiah gets a text that him and Huda are going on a date. And you should see Ace's face. Ace is like, shit. But oh, don't worry, Ace, because the games are just beginning. But Huda and Jeremiah, they're going to go on this date, and they're going to spend some much-needed quality time together while everybody else is at the villa. So everybody's really excited. The guys are hyping up Jeremiah, and they're like, at 6'1", pounds, Jeremiah. And guess who's the main one hyping him up? Ace. Fake. But it's okay. We're here for the mess. It's a good TV. And the girls are hyping up Huda. She's twerking in a circle. And they're going on like a pool date. And everybody's excited. Everybody's hyping them up. And now they're going to go on this date. And they're going to spend some time together and get out of the villa and just get to know each other on a deeper level. Because at the same time, especially if they're going to last outside of the villa, but inside of the villa too, they're going to have to keep building on that connection. And I think it's interesting that the producers gave them this date. So I really want to see how things are going to play out. Because I don't know, I'm with Ace. Something is amiss. We don't know yet, but something is amiss. And it might not have anything to do with Huda and Jeremiah, but definitely a shakeup. Y'all, I can't even hold you. Jeremiah and Huda are having a nice time. It looks like a lit date. Like, who wouldn't want to go to a water park? Like, that sounds like so much fun. And he's like, when's the last time you've been to a water park? And she's like, with my daughter. And he asks, like, you know, how old was she when she learned how to swim? So they're vibing. You know what I'm saying? They're vibing. They're thriving. And I'm going to leave it there until something happens with them. But now we're back at the villa. And we have Nick and Ace talking. And Nick is saying that he's surprised that Ace chose Amaya. Taylor also joins Nick and Ace. And Ace is just catching up the guys on what Amaya said. That he's like, dude, it's just kind of confusing. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to cuddle with you. I'm not going to sit there and just jump to be quick to do certain things. He's like, but I chose you, so give me some grace on that. And Nick is like, yeah, it's giving red flags and it's giving delusional. And Ace is like, yeah. So he said he feels like he's in a super awkward situation. Did he waste his pick? So what did I tell y'all? He got the ick. But now we're back at Huda and Jeremiah's date. They're sipping on some drinks. They're getting cozy. And they're going to chat more. And they're going to continue to get to know each other. So Huda asked Jeremiah what his day-to-day life is like. And he's like, gym, chill, work. And she's like, and he goes, you? She's like, well, I'm a mom. So I pick my daughter up on the weekends, on Sunday. Then we go to bed. Lunch, we have our routine during the week. But she goes with her dad on the weekends. So we have a really good co-parenting schedule. Right? And he's like, I just never considered dating a girl with a kid. But I'm excited, but I'm like, what if she doesn't like me? And Huda's like, baby steps, like, you'll be fine. And they do come to an agreement that she's going to talk to Nick, so that way Nick and Jeremiah are going to talk. But I'm like, I just feel like it's just going to get out at this point. But yeah, that's where things end with them. But now we're back at the villa and we see Sierra, Alandri, and Shelly. And I don't know, I feel like we have an official team meeting. I want to see what we got to say over here. So the girls are talking about Huda and Jeremiah. And Sierra and Shelly are like, I'm just so happy for Huda. She needs Jeremiah. And she was so worried about him love bombing her. But no, that's not what he's doing. He's really feeling her. And Alandri is like, yeah, I'm happy for her too, and I'm going to support her, but it does raise some red flags from the outside looking in, because she's like, when we first got here, he just immediately started talking about how he's not going to talk to anybody else, thus making her feel like she needs to be more closed off. And the ladies were like, I see what you're saying. So they're all generally like, we're happy, but we going to keep an eye on Jeremiah. We see Huda and Jeremiah again at the water park. And Huda's like, what do you see life being like, outside of here? And he's like, well, if we make it out of here and if we're together, then... Oh, no, she asked him that. She's like, I see us living together in the future. And he's like, well, if we make it out of here and if, we can try the long distance and then we can try the same city and then... we can try same city, so that way you can still have your freedom, and then we can try same place. But it's like, Huda, baby, I know you're excited. Things are going good, but we still don't need to just go from villa to in-home living boyfriend stepdaddy. Okay? Not just yet, girl. But we're happy. Y'all's date went really good today. Austin and Nick are chopping it up. And Austin reveals to Nick that, him and Amaya had a meditation session as well as a makeout session. And Nick is like, say what? And Austin's like, yeah, we did. So I can definitely see Austin pulling Amaya for chats in the near future. Amaya and Ace are talking now, and she apologizes for being so overly emotional. And he's like, it's okay. And she's like, I'm sorry, King. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, please, I cannot. But they're good. And now they're talking, and he's asking her about like what she likes to call her partner in a relationship. Okay, so wow, as we know, Amaya and Ace are sitting down talking to each other, and he asked her about the nicknames. And she's like, oh, well, I usually just come up with a personal nickname or call them babe. And he's like, yeah, so, even you calling me babe is too much for me. You calling me babe, you holding my hand, like, can you not do that? And so she's like, so even that is like too much? And he's trying to explain to her, and she's getting upset. So she's like talking over him, and he's like, you're quick to respond. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, babe. Like, being funny. And he's like, you're very passive aggressive. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't want to beg no man. So you can go ahead and you can explore your other options. And he's like, okay, bet, understood. And she gets up and she walks away. And he says, what just happened? But it's like two things. Ace, you can have your boundaries. You can feel how you want to feel. But at the same time, don't expect no woman to want to be around that. To be around that cold meanness. No woman wants to do that. Women want to feel wanted. And you can sit there. And what was he saying earlier? Damn, I feel messed up because I know there's a part of her that wants to feel wanted and validated. Yeah, that might be true. She might be coming off desperate. But two things can be true at the same time, and you're just honestly coming off mean and like a game player. Just leave her alone. Just don't talk to her. If you don't want her showing any kind of affection to you, nothing, then leave her alone. But just how he was coming across was just very, and I'm glad she got the ick. She needs to move on. She can chat with Austin and they can be like weird and quirky together. And at this point, like I said, I don't even want Shelly talking to him. Ew. So we see Ace talking to Nick and then Amaya talking to Shelly in the makeup room. Everybody's filling in everybody on what happened, right? And Nick says to Ace, he's just like, listen, bro, like, babe, that's something that somebody I'm dating calls me. Like, just dead that and just move on. Like, you need to go talk to Shelly. That's literally all Nick says. And I get it, like, babe, and it can be weird with the pet names. Like, I had a guy call me Love, and I was like, please don't call me Love, sir. But I think in this situation, when Amaya was calling him babe, like, I feel like she even called the other women babe. Like, it might just be something, a part of her vocabulary. But anyways, they both agree that here in the present moment, they're both done with each other. And Amaya's just, she's feeling some kind of way. And as Shelly said it, she's feeling like, dang, is there anything that I can do? But it's squashed and she's ready to move on. But now we see Ace pulling Shelly. And like I said, I don't see it for Ace at all. I don't think Shelly should pick Ace, but we already know that's how that's going to go at this point with no other guys in here. But I will say I think it's good because it'll leave that opportunity for Austin to go and talk to Amaya, which I think he should do, if I can be honest. He needs to go and talk to Amaya and pull her for a chat. So as Ace and Shelly are talking, he's like, oh, so how do you feel? And she's like, I did feel a little type of way, but, I'm good. And he says to her, oh, it's like you just want me to give you a list of everything so you can know how to date Ace. And she was like, no, I'm being Shelly, and if Shelly and Ace go together, they go together. And I think she needs to let go of Ace because Ace wants to be chased. Like, Austin was sitting there getting upset. He was like, I'm tired of whatever they have going on. Okay? And he just needs to figure it out. He had a chance to pick her, and he didn't, and I agree with that. And like I said, I feel like he just wants to string her along and just see what he can do, but it's not giving genuine. It's giving, even though Shelly is not, putting herself out there too much, it's still giving that she likes him way more than he likes her. And when he said about, oh, you just want me to give you all the cards, you just wanted me to tell you how to date Ace, be Ace's girl. Child, please. Y'all need to take that man off of the pedestal. And Shelly, you need to redirect your attention to somewhere else. Because I get that you want to be open and closed off, but it doesn't mean that you just have to be open to every single option that approaches you, in my opinion. But we see Huda and Jeremiah coming back from their date. So, we got to get the update. We got to get the tea from everybody. The guys and the girls have a team meeting. And basically, Huda and Jeremiah just tell everybody how things went fantastic. And that was it. And now we're getting ready for the nightcap. Let's have some chats. So Landry and Shelly are having a team meeting, and Shelly's talking about Ace and how he says that he still needs to explore his option. Like, he Dora. And Landry is like, yeah, Christopher Columbus. And I'm glad that they both said, or came to an agreement. Shelly's like, yeah, I'm just going to get to know Austin because I'm over Ace. She's like, he's like blowing my shit. And I said, I know that's right. Like, it's getting old. It's boring. Like, nobody wants to deal with that. Like, go explore. Don't be interested in me. Don't want to be next to me. Don't want to give me, bye. Go do that, And Alandria was saying that, she likes Taylor, but that physical thing just isn't there. So I'm glad that they both are saying how I'm expressing and that my girls are in tune and they're in the know and they're in the present. Because, yes, and I'm very excited for what's going to happen for these two. So Jeremiah and Huda are sitting at the table with everybody. And they're kind of whispering to each other in German. And Hood is like, you're just so calm. I love that about you. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, so are you closed off? And he's like, nah. And she's like, why? Are you just waiting for something better? He's like, no, it's just early. But I just highly, 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 highly doubt that there will be anybody else who comes in. She's just lovingly looking at him and gives him a kiss. And child, they're good for now. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But I'm like, Huda, why are you still bringing that up if you're secure and you feel so good and you just told everybody that you guys had this great date? But that's all I'm going to say. Okay, so Taylor and Alandria are talking, and she just says, listen, I don't feel secure in this connection. I don't feel confident. Like, I'm just not seeing the progression. And he apologizes and say that he's still Team Alandria and knows that he can be doing things a lot better. And he's going to work on it. And they get up and they get ready to go mingle with everybody else. And he goes, give me a kiss. And she gives him a kiss. And then she's like, oh, snap. Like, this is our first kiss outside the challenge. So we're going to see where Taylor and Alandria goes. Is it going to stay best friends vibe? Or they're going to get a little lovers connection? Okay, so after that, they go in the photo booth. And they're kissing and smiling and posing together. And Alandria, I mean, I always thought she was pretty. But seeing her smile like that, she looks so pretty. And Taylor looked very handsome as well. So I'm excited to see where this goes. It's like, are we going to stay best friends or are we going to turn to lovers? I saw something turned up a little bit in the photo booth, okay? Taylor, it looked like he got something a little activated in him, okay? I know you a humble country fella, but you got to step up, okay? Okay, you got to, activate, sir, all right? Before, you and Miss Fine, Tall, and Chocolate are no more, okay? Get it together, sir. Okay, so Sierra and Nick finally talk about the Bella situation. And she's like, so were you planning on telling me about the kiss with Bella? And I'm not going to lie, my man's paused for a second. And I'm like, I know in his head he was like, no. But he says, I was trying to tell you before the girls did, but there was just so much going on that night. It just was not the first thing on my mind. But Sierra says, just like what I told y'all earlier, she was upset with him, but she forgave him and she wants to move on. She says she wants to let it go. She is really not upset and she won't hold it over his head. And she feels like she doesn't need to tell him what to do, that he's just going to do it. He's going to do right by her. And that's cool. That's cool. I like them together, and I'm excited to see where these two go as well. But now we got Ace and Amaya talking again. So where is this going to go? Is Amaya going to start feeling some type of way? Is Ace going to be weird and not show any emotion? Like, why? Okay, let me press play. I'll be back. Ooh, Lord. So, the babe thing comes back up again. And she's like, I see what you're doing. I see how you're twisting this to get me to admit that I'm crossing your boundaries, to admit that I'm trying to call you babe. And in his confessional, he's like, man, she just wants to be booed up too quickly. She just wants to move too fast. And I'm just not with that. And honestly, it's like, okay, Ace, so why even talk to her? And he's saying it, well, he feels like most relationships starts off as friends. Well, guess what? She's not on that type of energy. Let her be with somebody that she can be her bubbly, goofy self with, instead of every time she's talking to you, like she's saying all you're doing is communicating your boundaries. You like her. No, you think she's attractive, but y'all are clearly not compatible. But y'all, that was the end of the episode, okay? I'm over it. Oh, Ace, you did a lot this episode. But I want to see the preview for tomorrow night.